Hi everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm Vic Cundiff and I'll be your host for the show. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmenencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to help support the show by becoming a premium member, please go to dogmenencounters.com/podcast to sign up. Memberships are only $2.99 a month. By becoming a premium member, you'll be able to download episodes onto your mobile device and listen to them commercial-free wherever you go. Also, if you'd like to check out the new Dogman Encounters t-shirt store, please go to dogmenencounters.com/store and take a look around. Buying a t-shirt or sweatshirt there is another great way to help support the show. Before we get underway with tonight's show, I want to apologize for how short it is. I had an eyewitness all lined up who unfortunately had a dogman break into his home. Due to either getting cold feet though, or maybe it was going to be too traumatic to relive the experience, he backed out of the interview. Instead of not airing a show, I decided to take a shorter interview I recorded a couple of weeks ago and air that instead. Thanks as always for listening. Alright, let's bring on tonight's guest. If you listened to episode 166, you'll remember tonight's guest, Art. On that episode, he talked about various experiences he had had with Dogman on and around his property. Tonight, he's come back to share experiences other eyewitnesses have shared with him. Art, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Vic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, but more importantly, how have you been?
I'm doing fine. I'm fine, taking, breaks here and there.
Well, that must be nice. Art, for the people who didn't listen to episode 166, please give us a brief bio on yourself.
I'm a truck driver. I've been driving a truck for about 20 years now. I was born and raised down in Mexico, northern part of Mexico, and live in the Chicago area. Been living here for over 25 years. Still like to, go out for walks and enjoy the family. And that's pretty much it.
When you came on episode 166, you told us about a family, or at least a group of dogmen that seemed to be living on or around your property. Have you been having problems with them still, or have the problems pretty much gone away?
It's a property. It's like what do you call it? It's not private property. It's like I would say like a park. It's next to a church, and recently I just haven't been able to go there that way, and I haven't seen anything or heard anything. It's been like I'll say about close to 5 months by now, like somewhere around 4 or 5 months since last time I went up there. Me and Sanchez and Donna, we have plans to get together and go and visit there. But for some reason, we all got sick and we wound up canceling. And we haven't just been able to get together and reorganize to the hours and the schedules of work and all of that.
Well, before long, the weather's going to be nice. I hope all three of you can get together soon and head out and have a look. When you said Donna, you're talking about Donna Fink, aren't you?
Yes.
I can't say enough good things about Donna, so I know you'll be in great hands. I remember when we were talking about 5 months ago when we aired that show, episode 166, all kinds of crazy activity was going on around your property. I'm surprised things have died down the way they are, but I guess you're not complaining.
I don't know if it's because of the season. I mean, the winter was kind of rough for us. And then another thing that I just haven't been able to go there for a walk. When I wind up getting sick and lasted me like 2 or 3 weeks. Got sick, got a little better, then got sick again and stuff like that. And to top it off, it was like really cold. It got really cold for a few days. I just put that aside. Decided not to go there for at least, till the temperature gets a little better.
Yeah, it has been a rough winter. Not long after episode 166 aired, you went for a walk into the woods and filmed something you didn't see until you reviewed the film later at home. Please tell us more about that.
That was the last time I went up there. was walking, and then I decided to go through the gate and turn on the camera and start recording. I was following the little trail. It's kind of hard because it's so dense in there that sometimes you got to go like basically crawling on your hands and knees. And when I passed through those bushes there, and then I got up and turned the camera on, but I kind of had my back turned towards the trail, and then turned around and started walking. Walked maybe about 100 yards, and turned around, and I felt like uncomfortable. That's the word. Then I got out. As soon as I came back out, out the gate, turned the camera on and put it over my shoulder facing backwards and started walking. I say about 100 yards from the gate or so. And I just left it at that, Then I got home and zoom in on the images. And as soon as I turn around to start walking in the trail, when I first went in there, I saw some movement, like dark movement, and I paused the video and zoom in and started like playing around with it. And I see what it appears to be it's black, and you see the like teeth, but it looks like he's got like one little one like on his back, and another one like in front of it, like holding it, like, and then the big one. It looks like it's a mom holding two puppies. As I was playing back and forth with the video, moving it around, and I passed by and then came back, and the same spot, they're not there no more. And you see some movement, like something is moving, like as I'm walking back up to my right on the video, you see something moving, like, because it's like there's a water to my right, I'll say about 30 yards, and it goes like downwards, like, downhill, right there. As I'm walking, and the videos, I can see some movement, but I don't have the proper equipment to, focus, and if I zoom in, it's like pixels, you get a lot of pixels, and you can tell what it is, but if I check it out in the normal screen on the phone, it's like too little to tell, but definitely you see the movement. And, then I decided to turn off the video, like I said, and then check the other one as I was leaving. And sure enough, I walking away from the gate, you can see movement behind me, and then the grass kind of like spreads open a little bit, and then you see like a dark figure in there, and then it closes. And then it moves to the side and more to the right, and then does the same thing. The grass over there is about 2.5, 3 feet tall, something like that. And this is probably about 50 yards behind me. And but like I told you, I went there, walked around, turned around, came back out, and then started heading back towards my car. And I just didn't see anything. I didn't feel anything or nothing. This is in another sector of the area, not where I usually get the sightings or where I get the more activity. This is on the other side. And seems to me like, I don't know, made me think like that was like a nursery or something. I can't tell from the video there. There's just a little bit, I'm not able to tell if this is, like a full grown or something. To me, like, only little ones, like teenagers or like preteens or like toddlers, puppies. And, I can tell that it was maybe like 2 or 3. And like I told you, as I was coming out, when I got the phone over my shoulder, I probably see like maybe 2 from the grass. I don't know how tall the grass is and all of that. They were a little lower, maybe like 2 feet from the ground to the shoulder, something like that. They're not big ones. They're probably like little puppies. Probably like in their, like a toddler or something a little bigger than a toddler, I would say. And that was the last activity I had from there. The last visit that I got there.
You sent a still from the video you just told us about that shows what you think was the Dogman that was close to you. Would you mind if I showed that picture on the show tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, then I'll post it. After you were on episode 166, you were contacted by a Dogman eyewitness who shared the details of her encounter with you. What happened to her?
She sent me a message and told me about she saw something that she couldn't explain, and she was looking for answers. She told her daughter, and she started going through Google and started looking for something and explain like something strange. And she said that day she was working the second shift. They've been working overtime, so she said roughly about midnight, a little bit past midnight, something like that. And I asked her what the area looked like, and she was telling me that the area is like in an industrial park. You got the main street that runs north and south, and the street where her company is at is like a spur. It goes east, then north, and then back out west to Main Street. And on the south end of the street, of the industrial way, whatever they call it, they've got a traffic light. And at the time that everybody that works with her was trying to go home and all of that, and she said that she saw that she was going to sit there waiting for the light for a little bit and maybe catch a couple of lights. And she decided to go north and then west onto Main Street. And as she came out of the driveway and turned to go north, she said that she drove maybe about a couple of 100 yards. Something crossed the road in front of her from her right to her left. But she said that it was like something big. And she said it was like brownish red, something like that, reddish, kind of like with some tint to black on the tip of the hair, something like that. She said that she didn't know what to make out of it, so she started driving right next to him. And the thing that stuck to her the most was the way this thing was moving, how it was like, I can say like floating, like kind of like moving like sideways. Like it was funny. She thought that it was funny because she didn't know what she was looking at up until she got even with it and put her window like by the head, and she saw like something that wasn't right. And she said that she sped out, and as soon as she sped out, whatever she was looking at decided to move to the left, like go back into like a parking lot or something like that, like behind some other building, and just disappeared. And that was like 2013, 2012, something like that when she saw it. And she said it's like when this thing was like floating, it was like moving like sideways, like swinging sideways. And the color, she said that it looked like her butt was like lower than his shoulders. And the head, she said that it was big, not like a German Shepherd. It was like more like not a coyote, not a wolf. It was like wider, like the muzzle was like, in proportion to the head, it was like wider and not too long. But she was driving, she kind of like, her head was even with the creature's face. And we're talking about that she was in the car. And she was probably like, I don't know, maybe 5 feet off the ground or something like that. And that's the feature that stuck to her the most. The way it moved and the face and the size. Then she asked about it to her daughter. She was talking to her daughter, and she said that they had a show not so long ago about what they call the wild dog or something like that. That they say that they see a big dog, and from there, you started looking into more and more and more, and then they came across your show, and she just didn't want to call and let you know because she wasn't sure about what she was going to say or what she was going to tell you. And she was talking in Spanish to me. She was writing in Spanish to me about it. And she didn't feel confident to talk to you. And she told me just if I can, just pass it on to you and see what other people might think about it. And all of this was maybe in a place. It's a residential neighborhood around there, on one side of the main street. And it's maybe about an hour away from Chicago, west of Chicago. And they came across the show, but like I told you, she didn't know how to express it. She had a hard time trying to, because she started asking questions, and that's when she came out, put one and one together, and then came out with that, that she was looking at a Dogman. And that was it for that one.
Well, I'm glad she shared that experience with you. When she describes it running sideways, I wonder if she meant that it was running like a dog. You know how dogs will sometimes camp themselves when they're running so that they're pointing one direction, but they're kind of running in a diagonal direction? I wonder if that's what was going on.
Well, what she was saying is that it was swinging the head when it was running, but it was like weird. That it looked kind of like every time that he put his front paw or arm or leg or whatever you want to call it forward, he moved the head to the right, and then like left and right, wobbling like sideways. But another thing, it was dark. She got it. When he came across, it was right in front of her headlights, and then when she was like right next to it, it was like not too far from her. But I don't think that she got a really like perfect view for a while running behind it. But she was behind it, and to tell exactly what it was, she said that the face was like swinging like sideways. What she was trying to say.
Yeah, that had to be awfully strange to see. Not only are you looking at something that looks like a dog man, but when it's moving like that, yeah, that's hard to take it all in. Another eyewitness shared his story with you. What did he tell you about his experience?
He said that this person's got to be about almost 7 years old. He always told his family about what happened to them down in Mexico City. And he said that when his younger years, he was a police officer down there back in like late 60s or early 70s, mid 70s, something like that. But his partner, which was the higher ranking officer, like the sergeant or something, he was like a rookie. He used to drive the area where they used to patrol. It was like the outskirts of Mexico City, like back in the day. And there was no houses to the right of him, and the community started on the left side. So what they used to do is drive up to the last of the houses, turn around in an empty lot, and then park the squad car facing down the street. So they had like nothing behind them, nothing on the right, and just whatever few houses they got on the left of them. And he said that one night they were sitting there close to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at night, something like that, midnight. So he was reading a magazine. The other guy was sleeping on the passenger side, and he got the dome light on. He felt the squad car lowering really violently in the back. He'd say he dropped the magazine and looked back, and he'd say that he saw something by the trunk, and said that this thing jumped on the roof and then the hood, and then jumped off the car and took off down the street. But he described it as like a werewolf, that it was running on 2 legs, upright canine creature. He didn't know what it was. He always told his kids the story, and they didn't believe him. His son and his daughters, they started looking into the stuff through the years, talking about it, what he saw. That they were sitting watching TV one time, and they were talking about these things, like Bigfoot, and I showed like Bigfoot and some other creatures that roam the Midwest. That's what he was saying. And he said that instead of getting like freaked out, he started laughing, and he was happy. He was like, you see, I told you guys, I knew I saw something like that. And from there, that's when they started researching and looking for what might it be. And one thing led to another, and then they started listening to your show. And of course, like they made him feel a little better, writing a message to me and asked me if I can, listen, or like if they can tell me a little bit of what happened. And if I can help, why not? But yeah, that's pretty much what he said. But he also mentioned that when this thing jumped on the roof of the car, the squad car, his partner woke up, like he got kind of like mad that he got woke up like that, but he thought that he was picking on him, he was doing something to him. And when he woke up, the first thing that he saw is like this thing standing on the hood, and then jumped off and then took off running. They said that his face was like turned to his left and looked at him, and then he was like turned like really pale, and like didn't know what to say or nothing. It was like one of those what you call it, charmer moments. And he said that at the time he was maybe like 21, 22 the most, because he said that he wasn't in the force that long. And he said when they got out of the vehicle and they saw the damage that was done to the car, that he said that basically they had not total the vehicle, but it got to be repaired. Like the roof was like smashed in, and the trunk where it was standing was scratched up pretty bad. And then when he landed on the hood, he left the marks, but he landed on 2 feet, and they had like 2 dimples on the hood, and then but the most damage was on the roof. They said that it was like caved in, and they didn't know what to say. When they reported it, they said that somebody jumped over the roof of the car and that they couldn't catch him. Like, well, we didn't know what to say to that. And that was pretty much it. This guy, he never got back in contact with me. He just wanted to tell me about it, and that was it. He hasn't even messaged me back or nothing. The lady, she contacted me not so long ago. She asked me how I was doing and if I had any more experience and stuff like that, a little conversation. That was about it. It was like the one I've been more in contact is, what's his name? Ricky. But for the last few months, I've been, laying low.
Did Ricky ever tell you how much time had passed between the time that happened to his police car and when he contacted you to let you know about what had happened?
He said that this happened like back in the 70s. Probably. He doesn't recall. It was like early 70s, late 60s.
Okay, so yeah, quite a bit of time had passed. Can you imagine trying to explain what happened to your cruiser when you turned it in at the end of your shift? That's a really hard one to explain. You told me how he said that. I guess they explained it as a perp had jumped on the car or something like that, but yeah, that's kind of hard to explain even if you go that route.
Yeah, so somebody jumped over your car and then damaged your car like that bad, and then where is this guy? You guys didn't cut him, That's hard to explain.
Yeah, it sure is. You just mentioned Mexico City. You researched a story about attacks that happened in a park down there. What did you find out about those attacks?
I started looking into that because of one of the guests that you had a while back. He said that he started researching that, And this guy, when he started talking to me, when he told me his story about Mexico City, being in Mexico City, and then that guest that you have that day that you just popped up, I forgot his name. I really bad with names. Jesse or John, I forgot his name. He's out of Milwaukee, somewhere around Milwaukee, something like that. He mentioned that attack, or a couple that was in a car, and then they got attacked. But there was more to it, like this happened, I guess, in 2009. This is more recent. In 2009, 2012, some in between those years. The reason is that I started looking into that, and was reading the whole article, and then I tried to go back into the same article, like a few months later, and it's gone. You can find it. What they say is that they were like in maybe their early 20s, the couple, and that they went there to be, to be alone, to make out or something. And according to what happened, they say that they found the driver door open. He got out and got attacked. Then I guess she got pulled out of the car, something like that, and they were partially eaten. But she sent few text messages about saying that there was some strange-looking dogs, and that was the I would say like the original report. And then when I went back, like a couple of months later, I just couldn't find it in the same newspaper, and it's not there. They say that the only thing that shows up is the wild dog attack. But it's weird, because they found the guy's body like in front of the car, like a few feet away from the car, and she was like on the passenger side of the car, a few feet away from the car. His door was open, her door was closed with the window down. And it really doesn't make any sense. If you think about it, if she was going to be attacked, she will be still in the seat, inside the car. But the first report that I saw is that she was pulled out of the car onto the pavement, like by the parking lot, and the guy was in front of the car, a few feet away from the car. And those messages that they say that she sent to her friend, that there was a pack of strange-looking dogs. And then there was another attack on a woman and a 3-year-old or 4-year-old boy, that they both got, mutilated. They got partially eaten too. And they ruled it out as wild dog attack. Which, it could be, but if a dog is going to attack somebody, like hand down a person, and is going to partially eaten, if there's a pack, they're going to clean even the bones. They're going to eat everything. So they're doing that for food, for survival. If there's like a pack of 5 or 6, 7, they all going to eat, Not just one part here or one part from, like the innards, like the kidneys, the livers, and leave the rest of the body laying there. And the boy, being like 4 years old, it was just like basically partially eaten, like just the, basically what they say, the kidneys and the liver and the heart. That's what it was gone. And from being on a wild dog attack, it's kind of weird, like they say that.
That is really strange. I can think of a lot of bad ways to go out, but the way they went out, that's about as bad as it gets.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think that they died before they started being, like started getting shot alive, They were still alive when all of that was going on.
Oh, I'll bet you're right. Yeah, unfortunately, when canines attack, kill, and eat prey, unfortunately, in most cases, they do start to feed before the prey is dead. Look at what happens when a pack of wolves kills prey. That's what they do. Same with wild dogs in Africa. Yeah, it's not pretty.
Speaking of wolves, I got some to ask It's something that my father always told me when I was growing up. He was a lumberjack back in the 50s and 60s when he was in his younger years. And he said that when they used to go up in the mountains early in the morning, they heard the wolves howling. And this is a question for you or a question for anybody that might know anything about it. That he always mentioned that when a wolf is howling, like not too far from you, you feel the ground shaking. And I always got that as, like stuck to the back of my head. I'll say that I didn't believe, but from my dad telling me that for the longest, it kind of was stuck in my head. And I got that, I was always wondering, if that is true or not.
No, it's not. Yeah, when they howl, you don't feel it in the ground. I'm not sure why he said that, but yeah, that's not how it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's strange. I wonder what was behind that. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight here, Art. I really do appreciate it. Before we get out of here, do you have any closing comments you'd like to share?
Sometimes I see a lot of people, they want to go and have an encounter. And they want to go so bad that they want to go at night. You don't need to go out there at night to have an encounter. You can't have it at any times of the day, The only thing that you're doing is that you're exposing yourself even more by going at night. They got all the advantage over you. They see you perfectly at night. You don't. Another thing, when some people, there's so many groups right now in Facebook, and I see that a lot of the people post pictures or videos or make a comment, start a thread or some. There's always got to be a mean one or somebody who's fucking, try to jump on this person's throat and try to make him oh, that's not true. I can see nothing. I don't see anything. Well, if that's your opinion, please don't try to make a point out of it. If you don't see it, well, just, let it be, Don't try to jump on anybody's throat and try to down them for that, That's one of the reasons that there's a lot of people out there that if they had an encounter, they don't want to share it, Because they're afraid of being made fun of, right? Because they see something somebody else doesn't believe,
Yeah, there is way too much negativity in the cryptid field. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Art, and sharing those experiences with us and those stories you've gathered. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thanks again so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmenencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you.